Hey everyone, Dinosaur MTG here because I am an old dinosaur when it comes to Magic, and I have something cool to show off today. I recently picked this up off of Amazon, kind of pricey at 40 bucks, but it's one of those things that have a niche demand despite being of short supply. I just thought it'd be cool to have this in my Magic library. I started playing in 1996. This particular issue came out in May of 1994, and I think by 1996, the Duelist was being outclassed by Scry and Inquest. Those were the ones that were available at my LGS at the time. Anyway, this is a supplement issue of the Duelist. It was released in May of 1994, following the release of the very first issue of the Duelist, which is very popular amongst players, but received a lot of constructive criticism. So Wizards delayed the release of the second issue to be able to have the time to expand on these demands and give the players at that time this supplement to hold them over until they can release a much better second issue. Let's take a look. First, we have a preview of Legends. In May of 1994, all you had was Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Arabian Nights and Antiquities. There was also Revised, but that was all reprints. Can you imagine playing back then? So here they talk a little bit about the development. Show off some of the new mechanics. Legends introduced not only legendary permanents, but also multicolor cards. Pop quiz, can you fill in the text of the cards that you have previewed here? We have Lady Orca. We have the OG Nicol Bolas. They got Hammerheim. And they have Arborea. The next thing we have are updates to cards as they were released in Revised. Revised was the first reprint sent in Magic, selecting cards from Unlimited, Arabian, and Antiquities. This section is the equivalent of an updated Oracle text that we would get on Gatherer. We didn't have Gatherer back then. We had magazines every couple of months that you had to have the physical copies of. Here's a section showing cards that were removed from the base set for various reasons, and cards from Arabian and Antiquities that filled those slots. Cards that were confusing, too powerful, or cards that Richard Garfield felt should be phased out to keep the game fluid and dynamic. Here's a section covering errors in Revised, like the famous green bordered blue card Serendipity Freak with the wrong art, among other things that are, for whatever reason, were misprints in Revised. Here's something cool. All the lore of Antiquities and the Brothers' War, including a map. We just don't get lore like this anymore. And then the previous page also, everybody that was credited to developing the Antiquity set, including playtesters, because they actually did playtest their cards back then. So this is all the lore. Well, not all the lore. They did have the actual books back then. But this is a big lore section of Antiquities and the Brothers' War. Here's a section of rules questions they called Magic Conundrums. Kind of hard to read this section. I don't know how these pages made it through editing. Anyway, just a few rulings on card interactions that might have been complex at the time. A recap of the Gamma Gaming Trade Show. Games that were featured and announcements of those games. We have Spellfire, Jihad, the Star Trek CCG, Illuminati, SimCity, On the Edge, Star of the Guardian. So many TCG games that popped up trying to do what Magic did. I remember some of these. I tried a couple out. Do you remember any of these? Here we have card lists for Arabian Nights of in Antiquities. Just simple card lists. Lastly, this is fun. They gave you a can you win scenario. I'm going to read this and show you the board states, and let's see if you can win. I figured it out. It took me about 5 minutes. So this says, your opponent is Sarah. The duel has gone back and forth, with each of you taking bites out of each other's hides. You finally had the edge when Sarah took the initiative, paralyzed your hill giant, weakened your Black Knight clone, squeezed you with a black vice. Realizing that you cannot survive another attack of Sarah's creatures, you have decided to make your move. It's the beginning of your main phase. Defeat Sarah this turn without dying yourself. So, your board state, you're at 6 life. You have a Keldon Warlord, you have 2 islands, 2 mountains, you have a Crystal Rod, an Orcish Artillery, a Paralyzed Hill Giant, a Sea Serpent, and a weakened clone that is cloning her Black Knight. In your hand, you have a Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, an Orcish Oriflamme, Flight, Phantasmal Terrain, and a Lightning Bolt. Sarah, on the other hand, she's got an icy manipulator in play, a wall of brambles, a singer vampire with an unholy strength on it, Black Knight, a tapped Scrib Sprites and War Mammoth, a Black Vice, and tapped 3 Swamps of Forest and a Soul Ring. So, how do you win? Let me know in the comments. In the back is just a quick upcoming releases talking about Legends of the Dark and Jihad. And that was a look at an old magazine from back in the Genesis days of Magic. I hope to get more of these and show them off. If you like this kind of content, subscribe, get notified, all that. Until then, keep playing Magic the way Richard Garfield intended.